And the earring can be made with this side as the front or this side as the front. And this is the earring made in a couple of other color combinations. So let's talk about the materials we're going to need. For these earrings, you're going to need 6 8x10 rondelle crystals, 11O Toho seed beads, 2 6 or 8 seed beads to connect the ear hooks with jump rings. So let's get started. I'm using a size 10 needle with 6-pound fire line. You're going to need about 1.5 meters of thread for the earring. We're going to start by adding a 6 or 8 seed bead and 3 11O seed beads. And I'll string that on. I'll go back up all those seed beads to form a loop. Here's where I can tie a knot. Here, I'll continue through the large seed bead and the next 2 11Os. We start our first square with 8 seed beads. String that on. So I have 8 seed beads plus the one I'm coming out of. I want to go up the one I'm coming out of, same direction, plus the next 2. So 3 seed beads total. And I pull that tight to form a loop. I turn this loop into a square by adding corners. The first corner is a 1 seed bead corner, so I add 1 seed bead and go through the next 2 seed beads in the loop. The second corner is made as a 3 seed bead corner. String the 3 seed beads on. And this part is a little tricky, but it's kind of the quickest way to do it. You go down through that first seed bead you put on, and then pivot your needle through the next 2 seed beads in the loop. Pull that tight. The third corner is also a 3 seed bead corner. We'll string on 3 seed beads. We go down through the first seed bead, pivot through the next 2 seed beads in the loop. Fourth and final corner, you just skip the next seed bead and go through the next 3. So you're coming out the corner, the first corner. I'm going to continue through the next 2 at first. And then through the third. So I'm coming out the corner. I get ready for my second square by putting on 2 seed beads and going back through that same corner, same direction, and then back up the next seed bead. I'll start my second square with 8 seed beads, string that on, I want to go through the seed bead I'm coming out of and the next 2. To form a loop. Make my first corner with 1 seed bead, adding a seed bead and going through the next 2 in the loop. The second corner is a 3 seed bead corner. I string on my 3 seed beads. I go down through the first one, pivot, and go through the next 2 seed beads in the loop. The third corner is also a 3 seed bead corner, but we already have one here. So we're just going to hook into this existing 3 seed bead corner and go through the next 2 seed beads in the loop. The fourth corner, we just skip the next seed bead and go through the next 3. 1, 2, and 3. So I'm coming out the first corner. Made 2 squares. To get ready to make the third, I'm going to go down through these 2 seed beads, through the corner, and through the next seed bead in that 3 seed bead corner. So continue through the next 2 seed beads, through the corner, and up through the next seed bead. We start our third square by putting 8 seed beads on the needle and threading that on. Go up through these 3 seed beads to form a loop. Add 1 seed bead and go through the next 2 seed beads in the loop to form the first corner. Now the second and third corners of this last square are just going to be hooking this through this one and through this one. So the second corner will hook in through that seed bead. The third corner will hook in through that seed bead. So I'm on my second corner, I hook in through that seed bead, and then go through the next 2 seed beads in the loop. And when I pull that tight, it kind of pulls this around, so it's kind of a bead cap, kind of rounded a little bit. Third corner, I hook into this seed bead and go through the next 2 in the loop. The fourth corner, we just skip this next seed bead and continue through the next 3 seed beads. So we're coming out the corner. So that's going to be the top, kind of a bead cap. The next step will be to encircle this in seed beads. So we add 9 seed beads, and we're working clockwise. We are coming out of that corner, we go through the next corner. Again, we add 9 seed beads and continue through the next corner. Again, we add 9 seed beads and we go through the next corner, which is where we started, plus through the next 5 seed beads. So going through 6 seed beads total. And we want to pull that tight. We've been working clockwise, but we're going to flip this over and now work counterclockwise. We're coming out of the middle seed bead of this loop. We want to go through the middle seed bead, which is the 5th seed bead of the next loop. I keep my thumb there from pulling it tight all the way. Turn it around a little bit, and we want to go through the 5th seed bead of the next loop. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's the middle seed bead. And again, we want to go through the 5th seed bead of the next loop. And I can feel the 3 threads around my thumb. There's a thread there, there, and there, like a triangle. I'm going to keep my thumb there just to hold it in place. I'm going to add the 8 by 10 millimeter rondelle crystal. And I'm going to put my needle through the very center here just to center the bead into the cage. And once I have the needle kind of centered in there, I can hold the bead with my thumb and take the needle out. Now I can tighten this around the bead. I want to continue through these 3 seed beads I've already gone through to reinforce that. You want to keep going through it until when you pull it tight, it stays closed. Give you one more time. Okay, that's staying closed now. Now, with these 3, in the middle of these 3 seed beads in the middle, I want to put my needle through those 3 seed beads, through the 8 by 10 rondelle, and I should come out the middle of these 3 seed beads in the front. Pull the needle through and pull that tight. Now here I want to look at where I want to be coming out. So I put where I started on the left, and the next corner is where I want to be coming out, and I want to be coming down through that. So what I'll do is go up and over to be coming down through that corner. So I'm going through this corner of that square, continuing through the next 2 seed beads, I can skip that corner seed bead and continue through the next two. Actually, I'm going through the next three, which is what I want, but sometimes you have to go through the first two first and then that corner. Okay, so now I'm coming out of this corner, which is what I want. That's immediately over from where we started. Here, we're going to get ready to make the next cage bead by putting 2 seed beads on and going back through that corner seed bead in the same direction. And then up through the next seed bead. Now we're ready to make the next caged bead. We're going to start our first of 3 linked squares by putting 8 seed beads on, stringing that on. I want to go through the seed bead I'm coming out of plus the next 2 to form a loop. I add 1 seed bead and go through the next 2 seed beads in the loop for my first corner. My next corner is a 3 seed bead corner. I add 3 seed beads. I go down through the first one, pivot, and continue through the next 2 seed beads in the loop. Pull that tight. Third corner is another 3 seed bead corner. String on 3 seed beads. Go down through the first one, pivot through the next 2 in the loop. Pull that tight, and then for the fourth corner, we skip the next seed bead and go through the next 3. Right now we're going through the next 2. So we go through the third one for 3. So I'm coming out of that first corner. I get ready for my second square by putting on 2 seed beads and going back down that same corner and up through the next seed bead. Start our second square by adding 8 seed beads. String that on. Going back up through the 3 seed beads to form a loop. First corner, add 1 seed bead and go through the next 2 in the loop. Second corner is a 3 seed bead corner. String on 3 seed beads. Go down through the first one, pivot, and go through the next 2 seed beads in the loop. Pull that tight. Third corner is a 3 seed bead corner, but we already have one here from the other square, so we're just going to hook into that seed bead and then continue through the next 2 seed beads in that loop. fourth corner, we always skip the next seed bead and go through the next 3. So we're coming out that first corner. Going to get ready for our third square by continuing through the next 4 seed beads, starting with these 2, third one in the corner, and up through the next seed bead. I start my third square by adding 8 seed beads and stringing that on. I go through the first 3 seed beads and form a loop. My first corner is a 1 seed bead corner, so I just add 1 seed bead and go through the next 2. On this third square, it's going to kind of come around like this. So for the third corner, we want to hook into this seed bead, and for the second corner, we hook into this seed bead, and the third corner, we hook into this seed bead. So we are in our second corner, we're going to hook into this seed bead, and then go through the next 2 seed beads in the loop. Hook into this for the third corner and through the next 2 seed beads. The last corner, we skip the next seed bead and continue through the next 3 seed beads. So we're coming out the corner. Next step is to encircle this with seed beads. We add 9 seed beads, and we're going clockwise through the next corner. Again, we add 9 seed beads. We go clockwise through the next corner. Again, we add 9 seed beads, and we go through the first corner we started with, plus the next 5 seed beads. And we want to pull that tight. We've been going clockwise, but we're going to flip this over and do the next step counterclockwise. I'm coming out of the middle seed bead of this loop. I want to go through the 5th seed bead of this loop. Pivot it, go through the 5th seed bead, which is the middle seed bead of this loop, and again through the 5th and middle seed bead of this loop. So I've got my 3 threads here, kind of making a triangle. I can feel them against my thumb. Add my 8 by 10 rondelle crystal, I will put my needle through the middle just to place this right in the center. Once it's in the center, I can hold it with my thumb, remove the needle, and tighten the back of this beaded cage. I'll continue through around those 3 central seed beads. I'll continue to reinforce by going through those same 3 seed beads until when I pull tight, it stays tight. So I'm going through the second one again and third one again. And when I pull that tight, it's staying closed. So now I put my needle in the middle of those 3 seed beads in the center and go through the rondelle crystal, and when I come out here, I should be coming out in the middle of the 3 central seed beads on this side. So I pull that through, and so that's what we're looking like on this side, and this is what we're looking like on this side. Now next, I want to look at where I want to come out to start my next caged bead. I want to be coming down out of this seed bead to start the next caged seed bead. So I can go up and down, up this corner, down to that corner. I'll start by going through this corner seed bead. It's one of the 3 central ones. Through the next 2 seed beads. I can skip that corner and go through the next 2 seed beads on this side. Actually, I'm going through 3, which is what I wanted, but sometimes I can't get my needle through all 3. Great, so I'm coming down through this corner now, which is where I want to be, to get ready for my 3rd beaded cage. I'm going to add 2 seed beads and go back through that same corner in the same direction, then up through the next seed bead. Now I'm ready to start my 3rd caged seed bead. I start my first square by putting on 8 seed beads and then going back up through 3 seed beads. That forms a loop. Add 1 seed bead and go through the next 2 seed beads in the loop to make my first corner. My next corner is a 3 seed bead corner. Add 3 seed beads on. Go down through the first one, pivot, and go through the next 2 in the loop. Pull that tight. Third corner is also a 3 seed bead corner. So you string on 3 seed beads, go down through the first one, pivot, and go through the next 2 in the loop. Pull that tight. And for the 4th corner, we skip the next seed bead and go through the next 3 seed beads so that we're coming out the 1st corner. To get ready for our next square, we add 2 seed beads and go back through that corner, same direction. And then back up through the next seed bead. Start our second square by adding 8 seed beads and stringing that on. I'm going to go back up through 3 seed beads to form a loop. Add 1 seed bead to make our 1st corner, going through the next 2 seed beads in the loop. Our 2nd corner is a 3 seed bead corner. String that on. Go down through the 1st seed bead, pivot, and go through the next 2 seed beads in the loop. Third corner is also a 3 seed bead corner, but we are going to just hook into the one that's already here. Go through that seed bead, and then through the next 2 seed beads in the loop. Fourth corner, we just skip the next seed bead and go through the next 3. So we're coming out the 1st corner. To get ready for our 3rd square, we continue through the next 4 seed beads, starting with these 2, through the corner, and the next seed bead. 4 seed beads total. Start our 3rd square with 8 seed beads again. String that on. And we go up through the first 3 seed beads to form a loop. We make our first corner with 1 seed bead, going through the next 2 in the loop. Because this is our 3rd square, our 2nd corner will hook into this 3 seed bead corner, and the next one through this one. So for my 2nd corner, I hook into this seed bead, kind of pulls it closed, and then through the next 2 seed beads in that loop. Through this seed bead for the 3rd corner, and through the next 2 seed beads in the loop. Last corner, we skip the next seed bead and go through the next 3 so that we're coming out the corner. Next step is to add our 9 seed bead segments. We add 9 seed beads, going clockwise, go through the next corner. Again, we add 9 seed beads and clockwise through the next corner. Again, we add 9 seed beads and go back through the first corner we started with, plus the next 5 seed beads. Going through 6 seed beads total. Pull that tight. Okay, we're going to flip this over, and now we're going to be working counterclockwise. Coming out of the middle seed bead in this loop, I want to go through the 5th seed bead in this loop. It's the middle seed bead. Turn it a little bit, go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5th seed bead of this loop. Pivot it around. And go through the middle seed bead of this loop. I've got my 3 threads here. I add my rondelle crystal to the needle. I put my needle in the center just to kind of place it right in the middle. Now I can hold my thumb there, pull the needle out, and tighten. I want to continue through those same 3 seed beads and keep going until when I tighten it, it stays closed. It looks like it's staying closed. So I'll come through in the center of those 3 seed beads through the rondelle, and I should be coming out in the middle of these 3 seed beads on this side. Pull that tight. Now, again, we want to see where we want to come out to do the final link. We want to link this corner with this corner, so we want to be coming out of this corner. So we're going to go up this side of this square and down this side. So we'll be coming down out of that corner seed bead right there. So I'll go through this corner. And through the next 2 seed beads. I can skip that corner there and go through the next 2 seed beads. 3 if my needle will go there, and it does. So So I'm now coming out of that corner there, which is the corner I want to link up with this corner. So I'm coming this way out of this corner, so I'll go towards, in this corner, going outwards. I'll add a seed bead, go back through this corner, pointing towards the middle, and out this corner. I'll reinforce that by going back through those 3 seed beads. 1, 2, and 3. Here's where I just want to weave it back through and tie a knot. So coming out of that corner, I might just kind of continue and follow it around until I'm where this thread started. That might be a good place to tie a knot. But you can really weave it back through however you want. I'm continuing through these next 2 seed beads. Go one at a time. Through that corner, through that corner, continuing towards where my thread started. Through that corner. And up through next seed bead. And here's where my thread started, so here's where I can tie a knot. All right. So this is the finished earring. We just need to snip these ends and add the ear hook with a jump ring. I've snipped the ends and now I'm ready to add the ear hook. So I just open my jump ring. Feed it through the large seed bead. Now, when I put the ear hook on this, I have to decide whether I want this to be the front or maybe even this to be the front. Both sides are really pretty. For now, I'm going to make this one the front. So I'll put my hook on, ear hook on this way. And that is my finished earring. If I had put the ear hook on the other way, that could have been my finished earring. It's reversible.